Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kamil Gura, and I'm a product manager in Evatronix company. Today I would like to introduce you to our new software dedicated to 3D scanning process. It's called eviXscan 3D Suite 2.0, and it's completely a new version of our environment for the scanning process and mesh processing. Today, during our meeting, I would like to show you how to scan and use our new functionalities. Showed our full new workflow with our software, show our completely new graphical user interface, and differences between old version of the software and that new one, which I want to introduce. So first of all, as you see, and as I mentioned before, we've got a completely new, fresh graphical user interface. Here we can find the list of our projects, current available projects. Also, we can search our projects on the list by our searching tool. As you see, when I type few sign, the list automatically filter the list of the projects. Also, you can see on the left top corner the new specific workflow of the process. From the beginning on the creation, the scanner configuration, the calibration, for the scanning process, and of course for the post-processing and the next steps. Today I would like to, of course, start from the create a new project, which I can make, but on the startup window, which you can see now. Now I'm clicking the create new, and I can create a new folder, which will be called webinar. As you can see, now software automatically shows the screen with the live view from our cameras. As I said, in first step, I would like to show you how to scan the objects with different grayscale level. On the left side of your view, you can see the standard white powdered object. And on the right side, you can see the object, which is shiny, it's dark gray. And I will show you how to use our new implementation, which is called HDR mode, which allows you to scan that type of objects with a different exposure level in one scanning operation. So from the beginning, we will use that option. We'll turn on the exposure filtering. And as you see, now we've got the filtering for the overexposed pixels, which has a red blinking area, and underexposed pixels, which are completely hidden on the live screen. So as you see, we can set the first exposure level for that standard white powdered object. We can add to the window of the HDR mode, and we can find another level of exposure, which will be dedicated for that second part. As you see, when I change the exposure for level 66.67 millisecond, I think it's optimum for that part. So also I will add them to our list. And from the theoretical part, from the practical part of the preparing the process, this is it. Now I can turn the scanning process, turn on, and the software will automatically recognize that both exposure level and generate the special mask, and after that recalculate the our scan. And as you see, now we've got two parts on the one scan, which can be scanned on the one process without compromise about gray level, the shining parts, or two overexposed areas or underexposed areas. Of course, we can do also the same way with the rotary table. So for that process, of course, we need to change the strategy of the scanning process. Now for that, we need to use a different icon on the top ribbon. As you see here, we've got a scan with rotary table icon. Of course, you can also do that operation with Wizard, which will be helpful for beginner operators. But now I will use standard way. Of course, I need to position the table. I will do that. I've got a first photo. I will change to another different position. I've got the second photo. And of course, the last photo. And software automatically calculate the axis, the neutral axis. Now I can set how many scans I need to get in the series. Here I've got the slider for them. I think 8 scans is totally enough for them. And now, with additional scanning feature, which is called HDR mode, I can start to scan the series. As you see on the result tree, software automatically created a series, which is called Table 1. This is quite new tool because in our new software you can find the new result tree, which is completely rebuilt in comparison to old software. Here we can group our elements, change the sequences on the list, change the names, change the type of visibility. We can set the standard compact visibility. In the standard way, we've got much more information about the scanning process, about our point cloud and our mesh. We've got information about the visibility, color, the number of triangles, and number of the points generated during the scanning process. And as you see, also the scanning process is much more faster than in previous version of the software, because here we're using the multi-thread on the processor. So one of the thread is using to capturing the sequences of the photos from the cameras, and second one is using for the point cloud generator. So that both operation can be created parallel during the process, which is increasing the speed of the scanning process. As you see, we've got the full scanning process. After scanning of one series, you can see some noises or some mesh which is not interested for us. In new version of the software, you can select the area which is interested for you. You can change the selection and delete directly the object which is not interesting for us. For the move further in the third-party software with the mesh processing. So here we can increase the speed of post-processing and prepare the mesh exactly for example, for global alignment or for merging processing, which can be prepared on layer software, geometric family software. In this case, of course, we can rebuild our model. We can regenerate the created scans by point cloud generated options. As you see here, we've got the option where we can select the scans which will be recalculated. As you see, on the scans, we've got not a large volume of the triangles because I was using the decimation, the intelligent decimation option, the algorithm, which is parametered by allowable deviation. When I will change that for the 0, I will have raw scan data without any decimation. Of course, that decimation is quite intelligent. What does it mean? In this case, of course, model is still accurate and detailed. We don't lose the quality of the scans. We lost only the additional triangles on the areas which can be decimated. And of course, some curves, some specific detailed areas are not decimated. And as you see now, without decimation, we've got 5 times more information than with decimation on the level like 0.01 millimeter deviation, allowable deviation. I can regenerate that again, and you will see the differences. So, of course, the intelligent decimation, which is prepared during the scanning process, decreasing the time of post-processing because our meshes, the scans, raw scans data, are much more lighter than standard original data. So with that case, our further post-process will be takes much more or less time than standard. And as you see, we've got regenerate the data, and now we've got much more triangles. Okay, so again, to complement that, you can see with new algorithm, new scanning algorithm, we can scan the shiny and dark surfaces without covering them of the white powder. And also we can directly decimate our data during the scanning process. So we don't need to do the operation of the decimation after scanning process. Another step which I want to show you today is the scanning strategy using the markers and also the rotor table. In this case, I will show you how to use that. Of course, data will be automatically aligned to one coordinate system after scanning to series. Also, I can select the area which will be only generated after scanning. I can check if my unique marker is detected. As you see here, we've got information about the detection. Also, as you see, I can zoom in and zoom out the selected area which I want to see. For the automatic alignment between the scan groups, I need to check the functionality which is called include markers artifacts. And in this case, when I start the series and make another one, my both series or much more than 2 series will be automatically aligned to one coordinate system, which will be located on our marker, unique marker, or of course the artifact. So of course, in comparison to our old software, where you need to set up the alignment after the scanning, here we can reduce the step where user need to select the scans which need to be aligned by markers, and make that automatically, which can reduce the time significantly. As you see, as I mentioned before, the scanning process is much more faster than before because we use multi-thread. As you see, in a few seconds, we've got the whole 8 scans in the series. Now I can change the position of the model. As you see, we've got the model in different position. Again, we can check our marker is recognized. This. So now we can make another series. Of course, except that alignment methods, like the rotary table or the markers alignment, or multiply alignment like the markers and rotary table, we can use the manual alignment, which is quite new feature in our software. In previous version, we don't have that algorithm. We can select the endpoint alignment. We can select the position, which can be the same for 2 groups or more of the scans, and align the data to one coordinate system, which I will show you on the one type of group. Because I will create one additional group. As you see, after the scanning, both groups, software automatically align them to one coordinate system. And as you see here, we've got some areas which has some gaps. So now I will change the position of the model, scan it, and after that I can make the manual alignment. Of course, during the scanning process, we can change the position of the model on the viewer, find some gaps, some additional information, and think about further future strategy for the scanning some areas. Also, I can change the colors of the scans, change the type of visibility, like the surface, wireframes like triangles, or row or point cloud. Of course, I can use something like multicolor mode, which is quite a new, unique feature where every scan is colored by different colors. With that feature, we can easily say how our alignment is prepared. As you see, we've got good transformation of the scans after scanning with rotary table. And now we can go to the scanning process. Excuse me, for the manual alignment process. I will select the 3 groups with our scans. I will choose the manual alignment options. As you see on the right side of the window, I've got the action panel. Because I can select that one I need. Maybe I will also delete that scan because it's not necessary for us. Oh, sorry, not remove markers. I'll use the manual alignment. I will set the scans which can be a reference. Also, I will change the color of them to see that better. And now I will start the registration between that 2 groups. Of course, it's based on the local curves. So I can select the places. As you see, we've got different colors of the points during the alignment. And after that, also software shows for us the standard deviation of the alignment between groups. And of course, in further versions, which will be available for everyone which will buy the software now with the subscription, because we plan to upgrade our software for next further mesh processing algorithms like global alignment, like merging, like smoothing, like smart brush, which will be very interesting for the further post-processing of the mesh. And now we can apply our alignment. Also, we can clean the scans from the noises. Of course, with some different methods, like cluster selection or lasso selection or circle selection. And of course, we can use options like select through, select only visible, or select backfaces. And now I would like to show you also how to automatically remove the markers. So maybe for that, I will open a different model. For that, I will come back to the start ribbon. Again, I've got the list of my files with information about that project. So I will open different project. Software ask me about the way with the saving of the last project. I will save them. And as you see here, I've got the model, which is quite difficult to scan. Also, it was scanned by multi-exposure level. As you see, here we've got different level of exposure. But I've got many markers on them. So, of course, markers and the area which will be scanned with the markers is problematically, especially for the quality inspection, for the control inspection, because this is additional noise on the scan. In our new version of the software, we can decide to remove the markers. We need to select the data. We need to use the algorithm like the remove markers. As you see, we've got almost 50 scans. Of course, software recognized the unique markers which will be which was using during the scans. Here we can use how additional margin we will use to cut from the boundary of the marker. For example, like 1.2 millimeter. And I will automatically remove the data. You see, software automatically clean up from the mesh. Every marker which was here was automatically deleted from the scan. Of course, we can apply our changes or cancel. I will apply them. And everything is correctly now. And of course, we can use the multicolor mode for the set, the multicolor. We can regenerate the data. We can change something on the scans. Of course, we can also try to align that again by markers. Also, we can use some visibility options like the feed view or zoom in or zoom out. If I select something, I can clear selection or invert them, or duplicate our mesh if I want to make some test operations, or delete them. Of course, software also has new options for the configuration. Here we can set every parameters by default parameters which we want to use for the scanning. Also, what is quite new and very helpful for beginner users is that description panel, where we've got information about area where we've got our cursor. For example, now I've got my cursor on the pixel clock. So on the description panel, I've got information what is the pixel clock and different parameters on that panel. Of course, we can set the parameters for the options for the default view and configuration of the scanners, our calibration, etc., and equipment. Of course, our software, our new software is working with good cooperation with our different accessories like toolkit box in standard and max version, and also with blue light filters dedicated for heavy duty line of the scanners, and of course some additional functions like new type of include markers artifact feature will increase the implementation and usability of toolkit box. Also, as I said before, software has some wizards for the processing on the steps, which can be quite difficult for the beginner user. And last thing, what I want to say, it's quite interesting, especially when we don't have enough time to full scanning process. We can use the fast scan mode. As you will see, the fast scan mode allows you to scan in 2 times faster than in traditional way. I will close the data or make a new project. With the fast scan, we make only half of the pattern sequences, as you see, software and the generating. The acquisition time decrease from 4 seconds to 1.5 seconds. So it reduces the time more than 50%. But user need to remember about the accuracy. In this case, the mesh can lost some percent of the accuracy. In standard weights, we reduce the accuracy like 30%. So I think this is very suitable to use them when we need to use the tool in a very fast way, without constraints about the tolerances and accuracy, or when we've got a huge tolerance for the model which we scan, but the major parameter for the scanning process is the time, the reduction of the time. And of course, we can use them with HDR mode and reduce the time of the scanning also. And we can scan the dark or gray object. Okay, so in conclusion, I will repeat what we changed on this software. First of all, we changed the algorithm. We make some additional algorithms for the scanning process, like HDR mode for scanning the gray and dark or shiny objects, the fast scan mode for scanning much more faster than before, the usage of the multi-thread processors for increasing the speed and point cloud generator. We add some algorithms for the post-processing, for the cleaning scans to reduce the number of triangles in the intelligent way without losing the details. The remove markers algorithm, the remove noises, and manual and marker alignment new methods. Of course, as I said before, when the customer decides to buy our software, it can be sell with the subscription. which allows the user to get the fresh updates for the software in version 2.5 and 3.0, which will have many additional and super functionalities to create the final watertight STL file. Of course, if you want to use that software with your scanners, you can download them from the website. And of course, if you have some additional questions, you can send it directly to the support team or to our salesmen, and they will try to answer for your questions as soon as possible. And of course, if you want to download the evaluation version of our software, you can make that directly from our website.